All right, Biggie. Now, we were supposed to do a little romance today for your movie review, but you couldn't find it anywhere, oddly.
Delightful picture, by the way, starring a young Diane Lane and an aging Laurence Olivier.
Kristen, what year? Well, if it's Olivier, it's the 80s?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the 70s?
Might have been.
Diane Lane's a teenager.
Oh, that's a long time
I think
ago.
it may have been her first movie.
Oh,
Wow.
But I think it ends in Venice.
Diane Lane. She was a teenager in...
Six-pack.
Yes, she was.
In what?
Six-pack with Kenny Rogers.
Probably better than that movie that you suggested.
That's our movie now.
Six-pack.
Six-pack's a great movie.
It's got a good song in it.
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers song.
Yeah.
Is that a rom-com?
No.
No, it is not. It's about...
Is it Zany Madcap?
It's a family movie.
Kenny Rogers is a race car driver, Brewster Baker, NASCAR driver. And he takes in a ragtag bunch of kids, including Diane Lane, and they're part of the pit crew. They are the pit crew.
That's right.
I think a young Anthony Michael Hall is in that.
Yeah, very young.
He's in that before Vacation. That's probably 1980.
But he has to have a love interest, right?
Yeah, it's I forget her name, but
Erin Gray.
Yeah. Good movie.
Yeah.
Six-pack.
Does he learn a little something about life and love on the
Well,
process?
he learns about the kids and how he doesn't have time for a family, but then
That great song is in
then
it.
he does.
How do you know when to stay or to go? And how do you know when it's real? Oh, what's the name of that song, Dave?
Love will turn you around.
Love will
Turn
turn you around.
Will turn you around.
That
Turn
is
you
a
around.
great song by
It's your
Kenny
heart.
Rogers. Yes.
Will turn you around, turn you.
That's
So
Six-pack.
this is 1980 or 81, and Diane Lane's probably 15,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, she was the oldest of the bunch, I think.
That's right.
The rest of them are real young.
Great name for a girl. Breezy.
Breezy. Yep. We've seen that movie a lot.
I've only seen it once.
in the theater.
with you.
It's that good. Kenny Rogers could act now.
Diane Lane was cute about. She was my age, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean,
That's beside the point. We're not reviewing
all
either of
beside
these.
the point.
This is my favorite part of my movie reviews, where you and Dave take off on a totally different movie.
when you don't get to review.
Today's tangent brought to you by Mathnasium.
How interesting.
Kids having trouble with math? Mathnasium.
Man. I'll tell you what happened there. We were talking about a movie we're not going to review, and then we sprang into another movie we're not
No
going
one's even
to
talking about
review. Chris Demm saw a little romance and liked it and suggested it for this piece. It's nowhere to be found.
Dave, step up.
Let me see where Six-Pack's playing. That's what we ought to do.
Yes.
And then Dave said, well, let's do About Last Night. Demi Moore shows her bush. And Biggie said, all right.
And so does Rob Lowe.
I mean, right. They both do. That's right. This is from 86.
86.
Okay. And it's set in Chicago, and they're Cubs fans, and that's a draw for
Is this
Biggie.
an ensemble cast?
Yes, it was actually. Well, I have some of this factoids about it. It was a play first.
Oh, okay.
Set in Chicago. They did film a lot around Chicago.
Now, the four mains are Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Jim Belushi. And then
Perkins, Elizabeth Perkins. This
Oh,
was
I like her.
actually her first movie role.
Okay. Unlikable in this movie.
She's very unlikable.
Nobody likes her in this
Yeah,
movie.
and Belushi is, he's
Also,
kind of a clod.
what a goof, yeah. Here's the, I didn't like Belushi in this.
Well, you weren't supposed to like him.
No, and Perkins.
I mean, he was
either.
dirty. And
Yeah. This is the clip.
It's about sex.
I was pretty drunk last night. Did anything happen?
No, absolutely nothing. Want to do it again? It's about strategy.
You called her twice? Dan, never call a broad more than once a week. Never, ever, ever.
It's about risk. I think maybe you ought to have a drawer over here.
A drawer? A whole drawer?
It's about friendship.
I'm moving in with Danny. I give you 2 months.
You don't go here, you don't go there. You're as much fun as a stick.
All right. There you heard all four of the principles right
Bingo.
there. Early Rob Lowe, too.
Early Rob Lowe.
All right. Give us the review. Tell us what it's about.
Okay, About Last Night is basically a whole relationship. It starts with them meeting, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, and their friends. They're two friends, Jim Belushi, Elizabeth Perkins as well. They play big roles as far as influencing decision making.
Did they meet cute, our couple?
They meet
Softball game?
Softball game.
And afterwards they go to the bar. Now, did they sleep together the first night? Is that what
They
it
did.
is? Okay.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did. Now it kind of goes through the whole relationship, ups and downs.
Mhm.
Finally they do get to the point where they break up.
Mhm.
But should they have broken up? Rob Lowe breaks up with her, but he then realizes he's made a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think I know why Dave likes this movie. Lots of sex and sex talk.
Lots of it.
Well,
yeah.
And initially, Demi Moore is sleeping with her older boss.
Yes.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah,
Rob Lowe didn't like
Steve.
that.
No, that's Steve.
No, yeah, because
That's
she had
right.
to break it off with Steve.
Boy, they both were naked in that movie, too.
There was a lot of sex talk in this movie.
There's some good looking, those two are at the height of their powers.
Demi
too.
Moore is beautiful in that movie.
Gorgeous.
She is gorgeous, yes.
And Rob Lowe is just like the hunk.
This movie was considered the one that made Demi Moore a star before Ghost.
Really?
Ghost made her a superstar, but they said this movie really put her.
Really?
That's what a lot of critics said.
At what point in her career do we begin calling her Demi?
That's after Ghost.
90s.
Yeah,
I think that's
Because
that's
at
nice.
this
She's
point,
Demi. She's
Biggie's
Demi.
correct. At this point in her career, she
That's
was
right.
Demi Moore.
Yes.
I think what was her first, she taken note of in what, St. Elmo's Fire a year before?
Yeah, I
Also
believe
with
so,
Rob
yeah.
Lowe.
But it was
Yeah.
wasn't it the? Wasn't she in the movie where Will You Buy My Wife, or do you want to?
Well, that's way after.
Oh,
That's way
90s,
after.
yeah.
She was already a superstar.
Yeah, that's probably 93, 94.
Is that Indecent
Yeah.
Proposal?
Yeah.
Indecent Proposal.
That's
Yeah,
94.
At this point, I've moved that movie into the documentary category because I think every man would say, yep.
That's right.
$1 million for a night with your wife. Really? Really? Okay, deal.
I'll bake the craps table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. But this is when she becomes a star about last night. Yeah, because this is, I think, St. Elmo's Fire, there were 6 of them. It was an ensemble. This is about him and her,
This
really.
is their
Yeah.
relationship. Yes. And I'd say it's a really good look at young relationships in their 20s, too, because you are, to me, in your 20s, you are influenced by your friends. And the outside influences do play a role. As you
Yes.
get older, it doesn't matter as much.
Right.
But you are still at the time. And Jim Belushi plays like the older kind of sleazy friend.
I can't stand him in that movie. Or Perkins. They're both just terrible negative influences on both characters.
And here, so you have the whole ups and downs of the relationship. Now, there are some pretty good factoids to this movie.
Yes.
One, it's gorgeous. It is set in Chicago, and they actually did film most of it in Chicago.
You can tell, yeah.
Yeah. The original, this was a play first, and the title of the play was Sexual Perversity in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Jim Belushi played the same role in the play.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
In fact, this movie was initially going to be a Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi vehicle, and Jim asked John not to take the part because he was already in the play.
But John died in 1982.
I guess they're saying
That long they were
Yeah, he
running-
was because
okay.
and Jim Belushi considers this role like the one he's always known for.
First time I've
basically.
ever heard of him was when he was in this role. I mean, I didn't know who he was.
And I guess he did the play in Chicago for years. And actually,
Are you saying Aykroyd was going to play the Rob Lowe part?
I believe so. They said it was initially Now, of course, it could have been a little bit different set
Had to
script.
be. Yeah.
And also, they were going to keep the name of the movie, Sexual Perversity in Chicago. And basically, every studio said, we'll never get this on TV.
Okay.
After it's done in the theater, we're not going to put anything that has perversity
Mm-hmm.
on TV. So
Right.
forget that. Also, as you've mentioned, and this is going to be, I will say if there's any children, you might want to turn this part down in the cars.
Okay.
Let's get into it. The rumor is that Rob Lowe and Demi Moore really did have sex during one of the sex scenes.
Bathtub?
No, when they're in the bed.
Okay.
Could be in bathtub too.
Okay. There's a good
They
bathtub.
did have a
scene.
good bathtub scene.
Hey, don't. Who's no slouch in the bed either.
No, that's
because
right.
I can tell you right now. I mean, she was. It's a good position.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Okay, here's what it is. I've found a full breakdown of it.
Mm-hmm.
Of the legend?
The legend.
Okay.
It is a very believable sequence.
Yes.
Because there's a moment where when Moore is on top of Lowe,
Mm-hmm.
they are both naked, of course,
Mhm.
getting it on.
Mm-hmm.
And you catch a glimpse,
Mm-hmm.
a small section of Lowe's clearly erect penis.
Okay.
And there is really nowhere for the top part of the penis to be other than
Where she is.
where she is. So they're saying, because you kind of, I guess, catch a glimpse of the bottom of the shaft. And
Where'd
it is
you
How
see it?
erect are you two right now?
Can I turn up my radio now?
Dave is scanning his phone for images.
Where do you get
Kelly
this?
is turgid.
Where are these screen caps at?
Well,
Well, and by the way, they did have a relationship together. They did date for a while.
Oh, they
Rob
did?
Lowe and Demi Moore. So it wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibilities.
so what do
For
they
them
say
to
about
have-
it? So did it happen?
They've never said for sure, but most people agree that they really were having sex.
Okay.
Because you do see the angles.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to go like frame by frame, stop motion to
But
see
once
it.
the DVD came around,
worth it.
It was a cinch with this new technology. You know, you could do it, right?
And I'll tell you this, I thought this was really interesting. In the breakup scene, really intense, good, true breakup scene.
Yep.
Rob Lowe actually improvised most of the lines during the breakup scene.
Oh, really?
And the part where he says, "I don't love you," that was not in the script. That was something he really said. And her reaction where she kind of gasps and seems stunned is true. They said she really did gasp at that because that was not in the script.
Great.
And it really did hurt her that he said, I don't love you.
I think the movie has a lot of good parts. I think it should be about 25 minutes shorter.
That is going to be my one critique, is that it is too long. I like Jim Belushi's character, but there's too much of him. I just mean that the character...
I know what you mean,
The character as a sleazy friend is good, but they really give too much to the friends.
Agreed.
Same with Elizabeth Perkins. However, I think the look at a relationship, I can tell you, I think that's fairly accurate on how a lot of young relationships go. I mean, it's real hot and heavy, and then it just slowly starts to.
Well, it's like real life comes
in.
in. You know, it starts out they're just having sex all the time. It's a great time. They drink. It's fun, and then it's like let's move in together, and it's like we have these bills, and now it's hard.
And to me, I love the conversation where they're talking about now it's texting, but it's the same deal. Is like don't call her right away,
right?
And those things still apply today, where it's like. You just saw her? Well, don't text her right away. Don't tell her.
Of course.
Leave her. Don't text her for 48 hours. Make her want it more. I mean, all the conversations I thought were very realistic.
Yeah.
But it is a touch too long and a little too much of the side characters. So I give it a solid 7 hearts.
You know what I have not heard during this entire discussion? Not once. Not once. Comedy.
It's not really funny.
It's not. There's not a ton of
funny
lines.
It's not a funny movie. It's
There's
not
a few
funny
lines in there. And I guess Belushi's kind of the comic foil.
Well, he fails in that. To me, that's a failure because he is a nasty character that you never laugh at. And when he tries to be funny, it's not.
It kind of falls.
It does. I'd give it a low grade for its comedy. I would, in fact, I'd probably give it 6 hearts because every time I watch it, it's not that enjoyable, but it's very real.
I will tell you this: at the end, which does happen a lot, at the end it gives you a little bit of hope.
Yeah,
it is kind of a downer when you see him breaking up. Rob Lowe's really going through it. Which does happen again.
Of course.
They see each other a few months later. Everybody feels a little different, and you kind of catch this, you know.
discover your mistakes.
Yeah. Maybe we'll give it one last shot. And even as she's walking away, she's even saying, what am I doing? What are we doing? Why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
But, in my mind, they run off and they end up happy.
Me too. It gets more and more interesting every time I say it.
This isn't Rob Lowe with the saxophone, is it?
No, it's Sam was Fire. And he
can't.
Factoid, he can't really play the saxophone. All right, I know that.
That's a factoid.
I met him. I met Rob Lowe, and he said.
Did you ask him?
No, he said it. He did a one.
I saw your shaft.
Yeah.
Hey, did you? Yeah, you could have been the one to ask.
Why didn't I ask him
That's the
that?
wrong question.
Hey, did you really open a diner with that old man?
God, I should have asked him if he really.
I saw your shaft. Where was the tip?
I should have said that.
According to, and I did some deep Reddit digging on this. And I've seen diagrams and everything. There's nowhere, nowhere for it to be, but in.
Inserted.
Okay.
And maybe much like the movie, I was sitting here and I was kind of looking at the soundtrack for this movie, and all of the songs are they're B-side at least.
Yeah, they're not great.
They're not great songs. They do feature a Bob Seger song, which I think is very good. But some of these names, I mean, Sheena Easton, John Oates, J.D. Souther.
Yeah, it's
Paul
not
Davis.
Great. It's not great music.
But the songs,
these are good artists.
These are good artists, but the songs aren't.
They're not any good.
The Bob Seger song is the best song in the movie.
Which one?
You ask me.
It's a montage.
What's the song?
Living inside my heart.
Yeah, it's not.
They're not hits.
Hit.
They're not
No.
hit songs.
It's a good song.
Well, where can we? Now Where are we going to watch?
I want to watch it now.
I At this point, I should have just bought it.
I will.
I rented it.
I'll
It's
buy
on
it.
sale on Amazon for $6.99. I rented it for $3.50.
Can you go frame by juicy frame for the peen?
I think you can.
I think you can. I'm
do
telling
too.
you.
I think
It's got to
you
be
can.
easier today than it was on videotape.
Absolutely. I tried it on
Yeah.
VHS.
It flutters.
Flutters. You can't tell.
You can't see the tip.
Dave is right. That shower sex scene is great, but
Fantastic.
as we've talked about before, really,
Yeah, it's not
not in reality.